Hello everyone and welcome to my hobby home. Today I am working on binding what I call my Old Glory. It's Fat Quarter Shop's Jolly Bar exclusive pattern. It is Every Heart Beats True wall hanging. I have my quilt here, the wall hanging here. I have it turned to where the back is facing up. I have my binding here. I will start on a long end and let's just get to it. And for all my new people, my name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to say, this is not a tutorial. It is a just come join me and let's see what we can talk about. So I have changed out my thread in my machine and my bobbin to be red, to be the color of my binding. How I do this, now this is quite heavy and it's a lot more wall hanger than what I have table. My table is not very long, so, but it's a lot of wall hanger here. I'm going to start down about the middle of my long edge. When I put my bind here, I'm just telling you how I do it. I'm going to leave probably about 6 inches there. I don't know. I leave long enough amount so when I get all the way around I can sew it together. I am going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch. And I will tell you, I'm not a professional at this. The main thing to do is not pull on any of your fabric or your binding because you don't want it to stretch. I'm just kind of tucking this under here so it quits pulling it off my machine, off my table here, because that's what it's trying to do. And when it does that, I lose that 1/4 of an inch. Because I don't want to lose that 1/4 of an inch. Because that is going to make a difference when we fold over to the other side of the wall hanger. And I may actually have to move my machine all the way down to the end of my table here and I have some things on my table that I may just have to take off of my table. But this is Thursday evening. This may not come out at 9 a.m. because it is almost 10 p.m. and I'm just now getting started on this. But I wanted to have this done earlier today. But I had some things come up today. I had some appointments today. And then I decided to go see my grandbaby. My grandson. I haven't been able to see him because his daddy was feeling a bit under the weather. But y'all, this is going to be so exciting to get this particular piece done. I am not putting a label on it. I know somebody may ask that. I'm not putting a label on it. This is for me. It is going to be a wall hanger in my home. Oh, now I was wondering why it wasn't doing as well as normal. It's because I didn't have that other foot behind it. with that dual feed, it does kind of help. And I forget to put it down a lot. Okay, I'm coming up on a corner. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert at doing this. But there are a lot of videos on YouTube is how I learned how to do it. So, I will tell y'all how I learned how to do this. Now, I know I can't get a close-up for you. I'm so very sorry about that, but I'm a one-person show. Okay, so before I get to the end here, I am going to mark. Let me get my little pen here. And I actually have a little, one of my marker tools, one of my little marker ruler. You can't see it. But what I'm going to do is mark my 1/4 of an inch from the end, because that's where I want to stop. I want to stop at a 1/4 of an inch. And literally that is where I want my needle to be down in the fabric. I can't remember who I watched do this, but there is a lot of binding videos out there that will tell you. And see, I don't know what it is, but my thing is stretching, I'm afraid. Okay. Now, what the videos say to do is to raise your foot, leave your needle in, and turn, which my table, everything's starting to fall off when I turn my fabric. But turn your fabric where you're going straight to the corner, where the corner is straight in front of it. So, making sure that's flat, making sure. I'm going to put my foot down. And what I'm going to do is sew straight off the corner of that. Okay. And once I have done that, I'm going to clip this. You can't see it, but I'm going 1/4 of an inch. I'm 1/4 of an inch from the edge here, and then I'm just going to sew off there. So now what I do is turn it this way to the short edge. Yeah, I need a much bigger area. And what I'm going to do is give myself a 45-degree angle, and that seam helps do that. You want this seam here on this edge to be straight with your bind, and this to be straight also. So once we do that, I am then going to turn this down, and it's going to be even on that edge. So I have to look at that to make, yes, it's even on that edge. So now what I'm going to do is put my needle back in it, 1/4 of an inch in from the top and the edge. And the bind should still be perfectly even on the outside. And I don't normally sew that right there. I don't know if I should, but I don't. That could be why my bindings sometimes don't look so pretty, but I'm okay with that. But this is a project that once I get it bound, will be completed. Y'all, and this little thing right here came in our sew sampler box. I think it's Be In My Bonnet binder keeper from Fat Quarter Shop. And I didn't think I would use it at first. I've used it several times already. I'm trying to think what I have bound. I can't remember. But this should actually not take very long to do this. I machine bind all the way around. And like I said, this is not a tutorial. By no means is this a tutorial. Because I have not perfected this and I'm still practicing at it. And I don't know what it is, but when I do quilts, I always seem to hold it back here too. Well, I know why I do, because this is going to be falling off my table, because right here is the edge of my table. My edge of my table over here is literally 8 inches to the edge of the table. So I don't have a lot of table space here, but you know, I mean, I'm taking up a bedroom as a sewing room. So let's turn this. So once again, I'm going to fold this at an angle, a 45-degree angle from the corner. It's going to be straight across the top and straight across the right side. And when I fold it over, the edges are going to line up as well. Let me see, I may want to mark this 1/4 of an inch here. And this little marker thing is really good because you know it's a 1/4 of an inch marker. So if well, my needle isn't all the way as far up as I needed it to be, but that'll be okay. Now I'm on the long edge right now. So see, I've already got 2 edges almost done. So here we are working on our 3rd corner, and it's long this way, so it's got a lot hanging off over here. And I actually need to get this where I can see it, get it over here close to me where I can see it. And I can make sure everything is lining up perfectly. I'm going to see if I can mark that 1/4 of an inch there. Sometimes there's a little finessing you have to do right there. What I try to do is catch that fold there. But y'all, this, I think this is a fabulous pattern. I love this. I've shared one pattern with someone already. I've already given it to them. And I have one pattern left because you have to get 2 jolly bars to make this. Or you can get a layer cake. Now that I have a pattern, I can just get a layer cake. But, you know, I was thinking I can make this as a gift for somebody and use a completely different fabric. You know, there's a lot of different red, white, and blue fabrics. But y'all, there is no better feeling than to get a quilt bound. I was thinking I may put a hanger on this, But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put a hanger on it or not. Because I have some quilt hangers. And if necessary, I can always sew in the little rings and put, what are they, command hooks up to hang it with. I don't know if it's going to fit where I want to put it though. So that's why I may end up having to put it over my couch instead of over my TV, because from my TV to the ceiling may not be as much space as this is from top to bottom. Oh Lord, and this is what I try not to have happen, but it did. I have where I've sewn 2 of my strips together. It's right on the corner. Oh, that's going to add to some bulk right there. But I just want to share this with everybody. Let's see. Today is what, the 27th? Something like that. 27th, 28th of March. And like I said, this is pre-recorded. You will get this Friday. It is the Thursday before Easter. So I have been quilting, I'm going to say since June of 2023. So that is like 9 months. Nine and a half months. And I just want to say that the quilting and sewing community on YouTube is the absolute best, most fabulous group of people that I have ever been, I'm going to say honored, because I am honored to be part of this group now. Just some of the nicest, most helpful people that you could come across. I will say, you know, I had a video this past week where I asked for help because I was not quite understanding a pattern, and so many of you came and offered suggestions, and I so appreciate it. Y'all, I cannot tell y'all how much it meant to me that so many people reached out and offered suggestions and offered help. You know, I was just blown away. But I did get some very good suggestions, and I have one person that she wanted me to send her pictures so she could actually study it and look at it. And I sent those to her today because I saw her email today. But I'm just going to tell y'all, y'all rock. Y'all are absolutely the best. Fabulous group of women, men that share information. You know, a lot of times when you get into groups where there's more than one person doing it, you may have somebody that gets a little jealous, don't want to share information because they're afraid you're going to outdo them or something. I guess that's why they do that. I don't know. In corporate world, that's how it is. People don't share information because it's called job security if you're the only one that knows how to do it. But here, I'm just so happy that I am part of this. Right now, I'm just able to share my journey with you on what I'm learning or how I'm attempting, because I'm still learning. I don't have this figured out. I'm getting close. I want to have about 9 to 12 inches so I can finish my binding here. Woo! Let me see how much space I have here. Oh yeah, I can do just a little bit more here. I'm going to say about right here where my finger is. Okay, y'all. Now this is the tricky part. I am going to remove this. Now see, I still have a lot of binding left here. But what I'm going to do is lay out. Okay, first off, I need to find the center because we want to sew in the center. That just makes it easier. So right here is going to be about my center. And normally that's about where, yes, it's about where when I fold this in, that's about where that end of that fold is. So I am going to put a clip in this just to hold it. I'm not going to sew this down like this. I have seen people that have used this actually to tuck this in. I've done that way several times, but it just never seems to look nice. So I know and I probably need to trim this one here. Let's see, make sure where my center is. My center, actually, my center is a little more over this way. So I am going to mark my center, okay, and what we have to do here is, like, I can leave this on here if I want to, and I'm going to until I sew it. So we're going to mark this as our center. I need to do the one I have on top as my center. And then what we are going to do is measure 2.5 inches. I've got spray starch on here. So at 2.5 inches, because that's the width of my binding. I'm going to actually grab a ruler here. But I need to get my 2.5 inches right here. It's 2.5, 2.5. And I'm going to line that 2.5 inch mark on my. So what I'm measuring is the width of my binding. I cut my strips at 2.5 inches. So that's the one I'm going to use. If you used a 2-inch or a 3-inch or whatever you did, that's what you're going to use. Whatever width of your binding is, that's what you're going to use. I'm not cutting anything yet, but I'll show you what I'm doing, because look, I have all of this right here. I'm going to take this binding here. I'm going to open it up. And this is right side up. And then I'm going to open this one up. Now see, I could have used that. But what I'm going to do is, let me just double check that again. So this line here, I am going to line up at the top right here. So what I need to do is I need to pull this together. I know this is going to be, this line is going to be the top, and I'm going to line it up there. Now this, y'all know me, I pin everything. So I am going to pin. I'm not cutting anything. And the reason I'm not cutting anything is because if I do this incorrectly, I can still take it out and do it again. Okay, let me find. So now I'm going to take my little marking tool. Y'all know me. If you're new here, you don't know me, you don't know I do this. I do this on everything, like half square triangle, everything. I'm making sure, ouch. I probably need to do this down here on my table where it's flat, but I'm making sure here that I am on that side there. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I am drawing a diagonal line. And in order to draw that diagonal line, I have to make sure that my fabric is lined up at the top. Now I will say this don't always work for me, but this is how I like to do it, because I've gotten to where I do like to have that seam there. It's just nicer. So let me see if we can get this to come out. What I'm going to do is take this, get it on my sewing machine, making sure it's straight here. Get that under that needle there and get that needle down in it. Line that up. Okay, so what I am going to do now is I'm going to test that. Before I cut anything, I'm going to test that. Okay, so what we're going to do is turn our fabrics. We're kind of opening it up like it's a, or let's fold it in half there just to make sure that it's going to fit, that we don't have too much. We can tuck that one in. It looks like it's going to fit. So what I am going to do now, I'm just going to take my little scissors here. I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch from that seam. It's always nice when it works out the way it's supposed to. Okay. I got some dog ears here that I need to, now I do like pressing this. So one moment, I'm going to press this. Okay. Now I am back. I am going to trim. I have some little dog ears here that I'm going to trim. Just that one set there. So now, just going to slide this back under here. And yeah, I will tell you what, I would not have imagined 9 months ago that I would sit here and be binding a wall hanger this beautiful and it looking so nice. I would have never thought that in a million years. So this is all credit to YouTube, because this is how I learned how to quilt, was YouTube. Now, I'm not going to say I am perfect at this, because I'm not. By far, I am not. But I hope to inspire you. And if you are new at this, you can do it. You can do it. Don't give up. Just keep at it. Don't give up. It is so rewarding, because if it don't click the first time, it may click the second time that you do it. If it don't click the second time, try it again. It may click that third time. But don't give up. Just don't give up. It is such an amazing feeling when you create something that is so beautiful. Granted, I know I'm using somebody else's pattern, and I'm using the colors that they suggested, because that's where I'm at in my journey. I am going to be joining a quilt along with Kristen with Icy Stars Quilting, where we pick our own pattern, our own colors, and that is definitely a challenge for me. Oh, I have a lid. I have just a teensy-tiny amount that overlapped, but it's not enough to really worry over. Okay, guys, so that is attached to the back. I thought I was going to have to maybe finish this up tomorrow and then have it ready for you guys tomorrow evening. I don't even know what time it is. Not sure. I've been recording for not an hour yet. Let's see what time it is. Oh, it's almost 11. Let's get started. I'm not going to start on a corner, but what I am going to do, well, why not? Let me go on and do a corner. So what I do on my corners, I will tell you, I clip, or clamp. I put a clip on it. I don't cut anything. I don't trim anything. I'm not going to do that. And I will tell you, I know my binding, I'm going to be sewing way down here, so I'm going to have, I may change my bobbin on the bottom, because this is way more than 1/4 of an inch when I fold it over. I think I'm just going, and I'm making sure I'm not pulling too much. But you see that little bitty bit? Now look at that. That's a lot. And I'm going to put my dove bobbing back in, because you won't be able to see the dove on the white. But I do take this extra little step right here just to make it easier sewing, because this way I already have all the binding folded the way it needs to be. And okay, now that I'm getting to the corner, I want to make sure my corner is nice and crisp. So I am holding this flat here. Let me go on and put a clip in right here. And when I fold it over, I want to make sure, let me go on and fold this end over. Now this one is going to be a little janky looking, I'm afraid. I don't have my stiletto over here, I don't think. No, I don't have my stiletto over here. Otherwise, I like to make sure it's all the way up there, because then when I fold it over, it makes a very beautiful corner. I mean, what is that called? I don't know what that's called. I can't remember what that's called. Oh, wait. I got my seam ripper. It's got a nice it's got a nice edge on it. I know a lot of people wouldn't do this. A lot of people wouldn't worry about drawing their lines on their stuff. They wouldn't worry about pinning. they wouldn't worry about a lot of things that I do. But like I said, I'm still new at this, and I really don't want to mess it up. You know, I want it to look nice. And what I'm feeling is to make sure I'm not rolling any of that batting or anything down, because we do not want to roll the batting. Okay, so now I have clips all the way around. So what I am going to do is I'm going to stitch on the top. First thing I've got to do is change my bottom bobbin. And it's as simple as that, just real quick in there. Okay. And that's just I'm doing that just because I do not know where that stitch is going to hit on the back. But what I'm going to do, I'm starting right here in the middle. I don't know where I want my stitch to be. Do I want it to be an 8? I think I'm going to do an 8. Because this foot that I have on I have the 37D. You can do an 1/8 or a 1/4 inch seam on this. And an 1/8 is on the inside of the foot, and the 1/4 is on the outside of the foot. So I am going to do that 1/8 still seems to be a little too far. I'm going to go in even further. I'm going to run my binding right against the inside of the foot. Now I am going to hold this binding, taking that first clip out, and I'm very, very close to the edge. I will try to give you guys a close-up once I am done so you can see what it looks like. Now I am holding down to make sure that I'm not rolling that batting. Now when I get to the corner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the same distance as I'm making my stitch here. Now I will say this is probably not going to be quilt show quality or anything like that, but this is for me. And I know I'm hitting my mic here, guys. I'm so sorry. But this is what happens when you quilt. You've got things all up on you. But yeah, it is getting close to April 1. I'm getting ready to do that quilt along. So I guess that means I need to get some fabrics cut out. I only have the background. My other fabrics haven't come in yet. They were supposed to have come in today. According to the Postal Service. I was supposed to have gotten that package today. Oh, let me give you guys an update. For those that have been with me for a little while, you know I have a package that has been lost I'm in North Louisiana, so my mail goes through the Shreveport Distribution Center. Well, I had a package of a fat quarter, is all it was, a fat quarter, that I needed for my quilt retreat first weekend of February. I think it was like February 1st or 2nd that I needed it. Well, I was supposed to have it January 10th. Just filling anybody up on it that maybe don't know. Well, I still do not have that package. Well, today I called my local post office. It's not where my mail comes through, but where my mail comes through is 30 minutes north of me. And this post office is in the same town I work in. So I spoke with a guy, and he's like, let me call over there. He says, I have a lady I speak to at the distribution center. Maybe she can get back with me and let me know. Well, I've had 2 other people tell me the same thing. Well, while my husband and I were having dinner, I don't know, I got a message somehow. It didn't come through to me. In his message, he tells me that she says in there lost and found, because I told him exactly what it was. I'm like, it's an 18 by 21 piece of fabric that, told him what color it was. You know, it's green and red. It's raspberry. I knew that was going to stitch further down than this. See, this is the part I can never get to do right. My binding on the back is not as big as the binding on the front. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm using 1/4 of an inch. Maybe I need to be using more than 1/4 of an inch. But I end up with a big binding like this on the front and a little bitty binding like this on the back. So, guys, I am done. My Every Heartbeats True wall hanging is done. Although I do need to do a stitch right there. I'm going to fine tooth comb my little quilt here. But y'all, look at this. Look at this. Got it done. Bound everything. I will try to have a larger photo of this for my updates. So guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, please do. It does help my channel grow. Feel free to leave a comment. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.